So today I kind of want to keep the lecture, I kind of kept the lecture really short because I think that this lecture shouldn't just be about like me up here speaking. It should be about everyone's involvement because I think International Women's Day is a day in which we all can celebrate, male or female, whether we feel oppression every day or we don't think we feel oppression every day. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. So I'm just going to start. So, the oppression of womankind has many different faces. Just taking a look through history, one can easily see the subordination and oppressive tactics that patriarchy, society, religion, and especially capitalism has placed upon a woman's head. Take a look into China, where at birth a girl's feet were broken and bound, causing malformation of the foot and intense pain with every footstep, causing the woman to become more reliant on her husband for basic means of transportation. Look to African culture, as girls, before reaching puberty, where part or all of her clitoris is surgically removed as a method of reducing sexual response so that girls aren't likely to become sexually active before marriage. Look to Pakistan, where it takes 5 female witnesses in a trial to cancel out one man's testimony. Look to our suffragettes, such as Susan B. Anthony, who fought tirelessly to create an equal standing and allow their voices to be heard through voting and running for office. On March 8th, we celebrate womankind and her accomplishments. For International Women's Day, or International Working Women's Day, we must release ourselves from everything we once were, and we should stand together as both men and women and embrace each other not only as equals, but as partners without competition or subjection. International Women's Day, or International Working Women's Day, was originally proposed in August 1910 at a socialist women's conference. The women adopted a proposal to hold a day of action for working women annually. A German socialist, Clara Zetkin, leader of the International Social Women's Secretariat, convened with the conference and proposed the establishment of International Women's Day. 99 women from 17 different countries, representing unions, socialist parties, and working women's clubs, all attended to the proposal conference held in Copenhagen at the Folkets Hus, or the House of the People. The main issue of the conference was about the fight for women's suffrage. One of the biggest problems surfaced was that Danish women had won the right to vote for city councils in 1908, but had just barely received the right to vote for parliamentary elections in 1915. Clara Zetkin resolved that, in agreement with the class-conscious political and trade union organizations of the proletariat in each country, the socialist women in all countries shall organize a Women's Day every year. First of all, the Women's Day shall have the aim of achieving universal suffrage for women. This claim shall be in line with the socialist understanding of the entire women's rights issue. The Women's Day shall be international in its nature and must be prepared meticulously. Demands for the conference for the day of struggle included the struggle for women's suffrage, the fight against the threat of war, the fight for care for mother and child, and the fight against price rises. The proposal was adopted unanimously, and the first International Women's Day was held the following year on March 28th. So, how many people here, by raise of hand, have actually heard of International Women's Day before it was introduced by the Women's Committee? Probably 2 out of, I don't know, say 15, 16 of us in here. I hadn't heard of it until Kristen came up to me and told me about it. Now, why wouldn't we think that International Women's Day, on the fact that it is indeed an international holiday and is celebrated amongst other countries, where even, especially in Denmark, you get a holiday for it, why, in a place, the United States of America, where we claim to have such women's freedom, have we not heard of it? Now, how many people, again, think that Women's Day should just be a day where women proclaim the fact that I am a woman, hear me roar, also I'm better than you? Nobody. Women's Day should be a day for us to embrace her, not only embrace ourselves as women, but embrace the fact that we cannot, we rely on each other as both men and women. We're a constant circle and not just a rise above. So, how do we recognize oppression? What about oppression of the working woman? 70% of the world's 1.3 billion poor are women and girls. Even though conditions have improved since earlier times, there still exists gender inequality and women's oppression. According to the British Trade Union Congress, the layoff rate for female workers has increased by 2.3% since the start of 2008, almost double the amount of male workers. According to the International Labor Organization, 90% of workers in sweatshops are women and young girls. When we think of a successful woman, we think of most liberal feminists who hold high CEO positions and are what is considered successful in the eyes of society. Yet they are the worst kind of feminist there is. The argument made by liberal feminists is that the progress of a woman can be measured by how many women hold positions of power in the large corporations and in governments. The feminist non-governmental organization, Catalyst, boasts to us that the percentage of female CEOs of Fortune 500 companies went from 8.7% in 1995 to 16.4% in 2005. However, facts like things don't count for overall welfare of women. The Canadian Labour Congress, in the same 10-year period as describes that women workers went from making 72% of a male worker's pay for work of equal value to 70.5%. With our accomplishment of having female CEOs, we have sacrificed the working conditions and pay of actual working women. We look at these so-called women of high power who have liberated themselves from male oppression and do not see that through their liberation they themselves have become oppressors. These millionaire women who hire hosts of men and women as nannies, cooks, and cleaning staff who perform the domestic chores that these upper-class women have claimed to liberated themselves from. These women become no better than the bourgeois men who oppress us. This victory that liberal feminists have claimed on behalf of womankind just creates a stronger divide between her and the mass of working-class women. Capitalism produces sexism by creating a strong divide between the female worker and the male worker. It is often we hear phrases such as battle of the sexes, anything you can do, I can do better, and boys versus girls. Capitalism relies on such a divide for men and women to be constantly competing against one another for higher position, better wages, etc. There's constant competition between the two. Keeping female workers at a lower wage than their male counterparts puts pressure on men to accept lower wages with which they are being presented with in order to come out with the same jobs, fostering sexism and pushing worker against worker. Marilyn Frye, author of Politics of Reality, Essays in Feminist Theory, writes of the boundaries between a man and woman are maintained generally for the benefit of men. That barrier is protecting his classification and status as a male, as superior, as having a right to sexual access to female or females. It protects a kind of citizenship which is superior to that of females of his class and race, which is his access to a wider range of better paying and higher status work, and his right to prefer unemployment to the degradation of doing lower status or women's work. A woman's biological role as the childbearer creates a situation where she is automatically burdened with the childbearing and care of her home. With this extra weight, it makes it harder for a woman worker with little free time to become politically active, organize unions, or even become a full-time worker. This leads to women being forced into the most exploitative working conditions, often on poverty wages, thus making their situation ever worse, helping to reinforce their economic dependence on men. A woman's participation in the workforce has laid the foundation for women's emancipation, but only on the foundation. So what does the International Women's Working Day mean to us all? Well, one could interpret it meaning depending on what one believes. One could go throughout the streets and declare their independence by burning their bras, as they did in the 60s. They could protest the fact that most Hispanic women are being oppressed. As Kristen said, 52 cents of every dollar is what a working Hispanic woman makes. Even men should be most of all offended by the fact that they cannot stand on equal footing with a woman. So one thing that we as the Women's Study Committee and the Revolutionary Students Union recognizes is that women are responsible for the same amount of effort as their male counterparts in bringing about social change. A major priority of the RSU is to eliminate sexism, discrimination, or devaluation based on a person's sex as in restricted job opportunities, whether it be from man to woman or woman to man. We reject the idea that women are in any way inferior to men or that women are biologically predisposed to assume certain roles in society. Likewise, we believe that men are not inherently sexist. We intend to overcome sexism by educating ourselves on important issues that contribute to the existing problem and organizing to fight against it, both in short and long term. Our ultimate goal is to create a society where women and men can live equally together, strong individuals and even stronger communities. Don't let International Women's Day confuse you. Yes, we are women, and yes, we are strong and liberated and wish to be recognized as such, but we shouldn't do that at the expense of our male counterparts. We are both strong and we are both equal, and we should both work together towards liberation. We should embrace each other for our strengths and be willing to love our weaknesses and accept that not all men are chauvinist pigs and that not all females are weak and docile. This is the day not only for us women, but for you men as well, and you should be recognized as such. We should all stand together and fight against the oppression of capitalism and patriarchy and religion and everything that means to oppress us. This kind of feels like I should say, and I say these things in the name of Christ, amen, but I don't know. I think we could break up into groups and talk about this.
Should we give her a hand?